I used to believe that love meant safety, that if someone looked you in the eyes and promised forever, they meant it. I believed that for 4 long years with Daniel. We met at a friend's barbecue, one of those perfect summer evenings. He brought the drinks, I brought the dessert. And somehow we ended up talking for hours by the grill while everyone else danced around us. He had this charisma, confident but not cocky. He worked in tech, some startup doing data solutions. I didn't really understand what that meant, but I liked how passionate he sounded when he talked about it. After 6 months, we moved in together. After 2 years, we got a puppy. And last year, he proposed on a rooftop in Paris, under fairy lights, with a violinist playing La Vie en Rose in the background. I remember crying so hard I could barely say yes. It felt like something out of a dream. We were planning the perfect wedding, elegant, classy, nothing too flashy, just close friends and family in a beautiful vineyard outside the city. I had a Google Drive folder full of color palettes, seating charts, floral arrangements, and then one day, the dream cracked. It started with something small. Daniel forgot his Apple Watch at home. He'd left for work, I was cleaning up, and his watch lit up with a message. I wasn't snooping. Truly, I just glanced at it when it buzzed. The message read, "Last night was incredible. Same time tonight? I can't stop thinking about you." I froze. I thought maybe it was a prank, spam, a joke. But then I saw the name, Erica, and I recognized it immediately. Erica was a coworker of his. He'd mentioned her a few times. "She's kind of annoying," he'd said once, "always overshares at meetings." That's what stuck with me. How unimportant she seemed. But that one message. It was like my world went silent. Everything around me, our apartment, our dog's toys on the floor, the wedding brochures, just faded. I shouldn't have, but I opened the watch. The whole conversation was there. Dozens of messages, photos, voice notes. Some were flirty. Others were graphic. And they'd been talking for months, months. He wasn't just cheating. He was in a whole other relationship. That day, I sat on the bathroom floor for 3 hours. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat, number staring. Because how do you grieve someone who's still breathing next to you, lying every day? He came home later that night with flowers, said he'd had a stressful meeting and just wanted to spoil me. I stared at him and smiled. And that's when I made my decision. I didn't confront him. I didn't throw the flowers back in his face. I didn't scream or pack my things. Instead, I said, "Thank you, babe. You're so thoughtful." And that moment, right there, was when the roles flipped. He just didn't know it yet. For the next few days, I went through all the stages of grief, but backwards, not denial, not anger, strategy, calculation, revenge. You see, I could have walked away, called off the wedding, told our families. But deep down, I didn't want him to just lose me. I wanted him to lose everything he was pretending to be, in front of everyone he lied to. So I kept planning the wedding, booked the final floral consultation, paid the deposit on the string quartet, smiled through the cake tasting, even when I wanted to gag. My bridesmaids had no idea. They'd text me things like, "You and Daniel are so meant for each other. You're literally the perfect couple." And I'd smile, say thank you, then open a secret folder I created on my phone called TRUTH. Inside were screenshots, voice recordings, screen captures of social media interactions. I built a whole dossier of his betrayal. I didn't know what I'd use it for just yet, but I knew there'd be a moment. In those 30 days, I watched him carefully. He'd kiss me goodnight, whisper, "I love you," and head to bed. Sometimes I'd lie awake, watching his chest rise and fall. And I'd think, how many lies can a man tell before he drowns in them? Meanwhile, I played the doting bride. My Pinterest board was poppin'. We had a hashtag, #, Dan, and L ever after. Our families were so excited, they started calling each other in-laws early. And Erica? I followed her on Instagram from a burner account. She posted a lot of mirror selfies and inspirational quotes. If he wanted to, he would. Cute. She had no idea I knew. Neither of them did. But I was no longer the sweet, naive fiancé. I was a ticking time bomb, wrapped in lace, mascara, and a flawless updo. The morning of the wedding, it was quiet, too quiet almost, the kind of calm you get before a hurricane. I woke up before sunrise, not because of excitement, but because my stomach was churning. I hadn't really slept in days. I kept running through everything in my head. What I'd say, when I'd say it, how he'd look when the mask shattered. My maid of honor, Jess, brought me coffee and croissants. She squealed when she saw me in my silk robe. "You're getting married today, can you believe it?" I smiled. I know, crazy, right? The makeup artist arrived, followed by the hair team. Lashes, highlighter, lip stain. They made me look like a queen. My mom was crying on and off all morning. She kept hugging me, whispering how proud she was. "You found a good man, sweetheart. You deserve this love." I almost broke when she said that. Almost. The venue was picture perfect. A vineyard just outside the city, with rolling hills, white roses, strings of lights. Everything looked like a Pinterest board come to life. The guests started arriving, men in suits, women in flowing dresses, kids tossing petals, laughter, champagne, bliss. And Daniel, he looked stunning. Classic black tuxedo, fresh haircut. Smiling, shaking hands, thanking everyone for coming, putting on the performance of a lifetime. He even mouthed, "I love you" to me across the courtyard when he saw me. I almost laughed, because by then I wasn't nervous. I was laser focused. Every step I took toward that ceremony was like loading a bullet. I was ready to fire. The music began, soft strings, a delicate swell of violins. My cue. Everyone stood as I walked down the aisle. My father held my arm. He whispered, "You look just like your mother did on her wedding day. I'm proud of you." I nodded, smiled, but my eyes were fixed on Daniel. He looked at me like a man in love. No guilt, no shame, just adoration. It made my skin crawl. As I reached the altar, my heart thudded in my chest. Not from nerves, from the pressure of holding back everything I wanted to scream. The officiant welcomed everyone. There were laughs, polite smiles, phones snapping photos. It all felt unreal. Then came the vows. Daniel went first. He held my hands gently and said, "From the moment I met you, I knew I'd never love anyone else. You are my best friend, my safe place, my everything. I can't wait to grow old with you." There were a few sniffles in the audience. His mom dabbed at her eyes. My bridesmaids looked like they were about to melt. And then it was my turn. I looked at him, really looked, at his lying eyes, his soft, practiced smile, the man who betrayed me and still believed I knew nothing. I took a deep breath, smiled sweetly, and began, "Daniel, I have waited for this day for a long time. Not because I couldn't wait to be your wife, but because I couldn't wait to show everyone here who you really are." Silence, frozen. Even the officiant blinked like he misheard. I kept going, calm, clear, deliberate. For those of you who don't know, Daniel has been having an affair with a coworker named Erica. For months, gasps. A woman dropped her bouquet. Someone in the back muttered, "What the hell?" I pulled a small envelope from my bouquet and handed it to the officiant. Inside, you'll find screenshots of messages, photos, and even hotel confirmations. Everything you need to verify what I'm saying. Daniel's face turned white. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. I looked at the crowd and said, "I won't be marrying Daniel today, but I hope you all enjoy the catering. It's already paid for." And then I turned, walked down the aisle alone, head high, dress sweeping behind me like a queen leaving a war zone. Not crying, not shaking, free. I didn't look back, not once. Behind me, there was chaos, shouting, confusion. I heard my mother calling my name, Jess running after me, but I just kept walking. When I finally reached the car, I took off my heels, opened the door, and laughed. I mean, really laughed. Not from joy exactly, but from the insane, surreal absurdity of it all. I had just nuked my own wedding, and it felt like I had finally come up for air after drowning for months. That night, I stayed in a hotel alone, ordered room service, took off my makeup, and watched reruns of old sitcoms. No tears, just silence and peace. The next morning, the phone started ringing. Texts, missed calls, voicemails from Daniel, his mom, my cousins, coworkers, people I hadn't spoken to in years. Some were supportive, others were furious. Daniel sent me 17 texts in a row. The first few were angry. What the hell is wrong with you? You humiliated me. Then he shifted to pity. We can fix this. You didn't have to do it like that. I still love you. And then came the begging. Please talk to me. You're the only person who really knows me. I didn't reply. Not to a single one. His mother messaged me too. She said she was devastated and that while she didn't condone what Daniel did, you could have handled it privately. But that was the point. He lied publicly. He disrespected me in silence. So I exposed him with volume. Erica? She locked her Instagram, posted some vague quote about toxic women and being blindsided. Apparently, Daniel told her I knew about them the whole time and was okay with it, which, in its own way, made it even funnier. I heard they stopped seeing each other shortly after. Guess their love didn't survive public scrutiny. A few weeks later, I started going to therapy. Not because I was broken, but because I never wanted to doubt myself again. I needed to understand. Why did I ignore the red flags? Why did I believe his business trips and late night meetings? And slowly, I realized it wasn't stupidity, it was trust. I trusted someone who didn't earn it. And that's not a flaw. That's a lesson. I moved out of the apartment, took the dog, left the ring, started over in a new place with white walls, fresh air, and no ghosts. I still get messages sometimes. People who say, "You're my hero," others who say, "You're cruel." But the truth is, I didn't do it for applause. I did it to reclaim my name, to end the story on my terms. Exactly 1 year later, on the date that should have been our first anniversary, I posted a photo, me on the beach, smiling, holding hands with someone new. No caption, just peace. Daniel viewed it. Didn't like it, didn't comment, but I know he saw it. And that was enough. Because the best revenge was never the wedding, never the drama. The best revenge was finally being happy without him.